Hello everyone, today I'm finally making a GaSTeR vid. Please ignore this one. Anyways, this video will be covering his role in Undertale, wherever said role is important, and talking about the time frame of when he was roaming in the underground. So, without further ado, let's begin. Starting off, for any regular Undertale fans who don't have extreme brain, WD GaSTeR is the royal scientist, or was, which we'll get into later. We know nothing about his childhood, but we can assume he was a nerd since he's very good at science. Anyways, GaSTeR becomes royal scientist by Score, probably because of his aura, or maybe he raised up Toriel and she decided to hire him, though he was most likely hired after Toriel. So, what happens after? Well, the underground is very underdeveloped compared to the surface, so GaSTeR makes the underground technologically advanced by creating the core, which lets monsters use the internet, or as they call it, undernet. Then, some things happen and he falls into his creation, and that's all we know about GaSTeR. So, you may be thinking, is he important? Well, to the monsters, yes, since he advanced the underground with the core. But if we're talking about the overall story to Undertale, then no. If I'm being honest, I think he was just there to represent what Deltarune GaSTeR would be like. Well, is there anything else we know about him? Yes, there is. In entry 17, a hidden entry in the game files, we see someone, most likely GaSTeR, mention something about darkness. We also see these guys, which are referred to as GaSTeR followers. My best guess is that GaSTeR discovered dark worlds in Undertale and his followers assisted him in it. If you want to know what the followers are, I think they are robots, and I made a short explaining why, so watch it if you want to know more. As for the dark world, I think it was similar to the one in the shelter, which we know next to nothing about. So, what is the fate of GaSTeR? Well, one of his followers said something about him which I intentionally left out earlier. That being the quote, they say he disappeared across time and space. This most likely means he's dead, or maybe even a fate worse than it. Now that I've discussed everything about GaSTeR, it's time to answer a question no one else has dared to answer. When did GaSTeR create the core? Now, while it's impossible to know for sure, we can estimate based on some details. The first is core looking somewhat tired, probably due to old age. Another hint to the core being old is one of his followers mentioning Score waiting forever to hire a new royal scientist. Now, if this theory is right, then I'd say the core was built before the 2050s. But I can be a bit more specific. You see, I think GaSTeR built the core sometime in 203X. Now, that seems absurd, but hear me out. It's likely GaSTeR was hired sometime after Toriel left Score, which was most likely at the end of 201X. This would mean Score hired GaSTeR sometime in 202X, and he probably spent that decade coming up with the design of the core rather than actually building the core in the 2030s. Then, sometime in the late 2030s or early 2040s, he fell into the core, then shattered across time and space. So there you have it, the complete backstory of GaSTeR in Undertale. This guy won't have another video on him unless we find more about him in Deltarune, or this gets really popular and people want to follow up, then I will at some point. Anyways, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Deltarune theories, and I'll see you all next time.